Hey guys, welcome to the video. I'm Everlast. I have been rank 1 value the split. I'm gonna go through the patch with you and see what the changes are because it's a patch preview today. In a week, this patch is gonna come live, maybe with some changes, but still, we're gonna take a look at what is going on and what they're thinking about doing. And unfortunately, Vi is getting hit quite a bit. So we're gonna get into that as well. And maybe I'm gonna offer some changes that I think might be better, but let's just get into the patch, see what is going to happen in a week, and prepare for it. So, starting off with Senna is getting a buff. Actually, I don't mind it. She's been on the weak side, and although she's a little bit annoying, she does deserve some buffs. And it looks like they're buffing her crit and her soul drop rate from million monster kills is going up. So this means they want to bring back ADC Senna and they want to bring them back a damage heavy Senna. So they want to move away from this Enchanter Senna that has been meta and the supportive Senna. So it looks like they want her to farm again, build some damage, build some crit, and do more damage. So that's going to be interesting. They're also nerfing the AP ratio for Q, so that it further just like enforces that they don't want this Enchanter Moonstone Senna to be a thing, or like a high-elo. High-elo? Is that the name of the item? Anyway, so support Senna getting slightly hit, but more so just like damage Senna ADC is getting buffs. Smolder, his Q stacks are going up, and his HP burn per 100 stack is going up. His E damage per stack is also going up, so just his stacking is going to happen faster and it's going to have more impact. I guess that's good. That's also good for Smolder because he has been really slow. It's going to help Mountain Soul Q. I don't think he's super weak. You don't see him a bunch, but he has been doing okay. I don't mind the buffs though. He's been kind of out of the meta, so I guess that's fine. Kane is getting a very small nerf or HP growth, so his late game is taken down a bit. Especially Bruiser Kane, I would say, because the Squishy Kane doesn't really care about being tanky. He just wants one shot. He wants to do a bunch of damage. So Red King is getting a small hit, I guess. But also now maybe they want them to build more HP himself because he's getting quite tanky, especially with this Darkin build. They're building a very damage heavy K now and still tanky enough. So he's kind of one-shotting while being somewhat tanky. So I guess this change makes sense. So they're trying to hit just like the full damage Darkin, I suspect here. And then we got Lulu that is getting some more nerfs. So they're nerfing the ult cooldown. Oh, yes. 120, that's quite big. This is a big nerf. So I guess it's 120 rank 1 and then 100 rank 11. And usually the support won't get to level 16 anyway. So it's that is quite a decent nerf actually. For bot laner, especially, you can play really aggressive and actually utilize the fact that Lulu won't have her ultimate. Champions like Leona, Nautilus that can have a shorter cooldown in levels in level 6. You can ult in. Okay, Lulu uses ultimate, they survive, but if you play well around the cooldowns on the next engage, you can easily get kills because you might have like a 20 or a 25-second window there where Leona, Nautilus, these champions can really ult in and actually get punished that Lulu has a longer ult cooldown. And she's also going to be slightly squishier later on, which makes sense. She feels unkillable late game. So I like this nerf. I think it's good. The Enchanters has been really taking over EO West at least. All I see is Enchanters pretty much. It's kind of crazy. So Nafiri is getting some nerfs to the passive monster modification. So that's going down. So nerfing Rek'Sai jungle a little bit makes sense. She's been clearing really fast. Jinzao is getting an armor level nerf. That's going down by 0.6. He's been really strong. So I think this nerf is good. He's also been way too good late game. Like, he is a good earlier game champion, but his late game has just been crazy as well. His team fighting, his late game power spike, because he synergizes so well with the items at the moment. So he just scales really well with Southern Sky, Black Cleaver, Sterax, these items. He's doing really well. So I think this nerf makes sense. He's been very strong. Yumi is getting a nerf as well. Kind of whatever. I haven't really thought about it. Base heal per hit. I don't mind Yumi getting nerfed. I didn't think she was a problem. But she's always annoying, so just nerf her. I don't mind. That's quite a bit though. Base heal per hit going down 15. Okay, interesting. Cho'Gath are getting some adjustment, Fiddlesticks adjustment, and Vi adjustment, but they're actually not adjustment. They're just like some champions are getting a, a benefit here, and some are really not. So let's get into it. So we got Cho'Gath getting a base attack speed buff. Interesting. I feel like his basic attacks is really obnoxious. So I feel like they should nerf the tank build at the moment with all the E damage and maybe buff the Q because that is more skill expression. But looks like they're nerfing the Q base damage late game. So, and they're also changing the E. Oh, to get an interesting. Okay, so they're buffing the passive damage, the percentage damage, and per fee stack is staying the same, but of the target's health, though they're let me see. It stays pretty much the same. They buff the percentage damage. That is kind of crazy. I feel like his E is already so good. This is weird. They're nerfing the Q but buffing the E against other tanks. So he's just gonna destroy other tanks. Though I feel like this doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like it should be reversed. This is really weird. He's already destroying every other tank in the top lane because of his E and because of his sustain. And the fact that he's scaling is so crazy with his ultimate. And now they're further making that better while nerfing the Q, which is the skill expression, and does a little bit better into squishy champions. I find this a bit odd, but I don't know. Let's see if it's gonna go through though. Fiddlesticks Q fear is going down. Oh, thank goodness. That one is so annoying. But what is happening is that they're nerfing the Q base damage, and they're buffing the scaling per 100 AP. So that is quite significant actually. And the W is getting an AP buff and not a base damage nerf. And then yeah, that's it. So they're just buffing, building AP. They want to get rid of these tank fiddlesticks, especially on support. It's been taken over. I see it in so many games now. So they want him to build AP. But Fiddlesticks is already a good jungler, so this is quite scary because this is just like, yes, the Q fear will matter a little bit, but not a whole lot. But he's gonna do so much damage if he actually builds AP now, because like he's gonna get 3% per 100 AP. That is kind of crazy because it's gonna get 6% on only 200 AP. So imagine you get like 400 AP. That wouldn't be so strange. If you go like kind of an aggressive Fiddlesticks build, you go Leandris or the other AP item, you go maybe Hourglass, something like this, and then you go with Abaddon's third. You're gonna have probably 400 AP, maybe more. And that is gonna be insane because he's gonna do like 12% extra, by the way, and empowered is doubled. Nah, this is crazy. This damage is unreal. Yeah, AP Field 6 is going to be really good in the jungle. He's already doing fine in the jungle, so it's crazy that he's not just getting nerfed for support, but just like really buffed for AP. Okay, interesting. I think they can still play Fiddlestick support, just building AP as well, because like especially items like Leandris that does so much by themselves. So that is interesting. So and then we come to Vi. And here, I got some issues with right, I think. But we'll see. So for Q, minimum damage. So they're nerfing this one quite heavily. They're nerfing it so much. It's crazy. So the short Q, just the Q spam, is getting nerfed by 25 damage at rank 5. That is quite significant because you do use quite a few Qs in fights. Another thing is they nerfed the AD scaling by 0.2. So they're nerfing it by so much. Like the damage is so nerfed on the Q taps. Now it's all about that CC and just proccing the W, which is interesting. You want to try to charge your Q, but now it's going to be even more important. So I guess that is kind of skill expression, but using also the short Qs in the correct moments is also a form of skill expression. But yeah, so that is interesting. Now it's going to be important to charge your Q though. And then the Q is getting slightly buffed on maximum Q damage. I don't know why they do this. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe they think that this is like skill expression, but I feel like it's really weird. I guess they just want to tone down their damage in general. But yeah, they're also nerfing the AD scaling by 0.1. I feel like that is fine. It is really heavy, but that is quite a nerf to like the full damage Vi that I really enjoy. It is a nerf. But the damage, the full stacked Q is going to do 10 more damage at all ranks, apparently. So that is not insignificant. So you better charge your Qs now. In team fights, in fights now, you can kind of Q auto and you stay in there for your next Q. You can kind of backspace, wait for your next Q, and then you can charge it and go back in. That is going to be better than just like staying in the fight and just like spamming your Q when it comes to cooldown. So you might have to play like this to get a little bit more damage output, but still kiting out. That might be a way to like move around this nerf or like change. I see it as a nerf overall, obviously, because the scaling goes down on the fully charged. If it didn't, then we would actually just get 10 damage on the fully charged Q if you used it. But yeah, now it's overall going to be pretty much the same damage on the fully charged Q, but the nerf to the base damage. And now the mana cost is going down. Who cares? You're jungling, you're pretty much full mana no matter what. So like you can lose a bit of mana throughout the game when you're spamming Qs around the map. So it might make a difference, but rarely it will, because you're often going to have blue buffs many of the game, because it gives blue buff to everyone. So it's not like you have to share it ever. So many times you will have blue buff, or you will just be full mana because you're jungler and you have infinite mana regen. So that is just a strange change. Whatever, it was kind of strange that it used 150 mana, but oh well, all right, it's fine. And the damage is going down, especially later into the game. I don't know how I feel about this, because the ultimate does no damage to begin with. It's kind of whatever. It does very little damage. It is just like the nerfing your damage, which I find really odd. What brought her to pro play was the passive being so strong and her being so tanky right now. When you build the big API, the big HP items like Sun Sky, Black Cleaver, Sterax. So I feel like if you're gonna nerf something, nerf the passive. They're just really boring, especially for solo queue. I'm probably a little bit biased because I do like to do a lot of damage. But yeah, it is a bit strange. I've been thinking about a change for why. I'm going to go through the rest of the changes and then come back to it. Because I got some suggestions maybe for Riot. If they were to see this, that would be amazing. But yeah, we'll see. System buff, unsealed spellbook. Base recharge time 5 minutes to 4 minutes. I've never used this in my life. I know there are some champions that like it. This is a really big buff though. Like overall, 5 minutes to 4 minutes is quite decent. So there might be some changes, or like champions that do enjoy this. That doesn't have another good rune, but I feel like most champions do have good runes right now. There has been like this rise in Twisted Faith Ivern. Some of these has been using something else, but they got stuff like Face Rush and so on, and Airy that is quite good. So gonna be interesting. And then there's apparently a lot of mage item changes that is gonna come. We're gonna be able to see those later. What is actually going to happen, but overall a lot of changes they say. And then Leander's Seraph's generally nerfed, which makes sense. They've been completely taken over. They've been so OP for so long. I've been saying this for like 3 seasons now, but finally they're getting nerfed. Some of the items, other items, are going to get buffed apparently. So I find that a little bit interesting. So I'm guessing that's the burst items like Rock Belt, Storm Surge, as they mentioned here. They highlighted these one. Criplong is the one that changed them a bit. So burst value, yeah. So they want to have them be more like unique, I guess. So that makes sense, because like many of the AP burst items, especially, are very similar. Like Shadow Flame, Storm Surge, they have the same purpose. They're not different enough. It's more just like who gives me the most stats for the most gold. Kind of a thing, and I think Shadow Flame has been kind of winning that one, but Storm Surge feels good. It's a little bit cheaper, so if you can only afford it, then it's nice. But yeah, generally I think Shadow Flame just outperform Storm Surge. But yeah, they're very similar, so that makes sense. Rocket Belt is probably gonna be doing more damage, but they're nerfing the HP, they say. So we're gonna have to look, just wait and see for the changes to the AP items. But let's talk about Vi. So Vi's a problem in pro play, right? She's gonna get stuck in pro play jail again because pro players don't learn how to play against her, and she is really good. But the reason she is good is because of her ultimate. I think we can all agree on this. And the reason she's so good in pro play because of it, I'm not saying it's like ADC meta. Obviously, ADC in pro play is just like so big. They do so much of the damage, and they have been strong for a very long time. This is something I've said, but nerfing ADC is not going to happen. So we're gonna nerf Vi, which is fine, or change Vi. I have a suggestion, and that is around the ultimate, because the ultimate is the problem. Let's maybe find a change for the Vi ultimate. I really like it's unique. It's been there from the start, and it's really cool ability. Maybe not if you're an ADC main, but still, it's quite cool and unique, and it's just like it's Vi. It's really important for Vi to have this. But I think a change that could be cool is to make her travel time faster and her animation faster and nerf the CC. So she has a long travel time, right? Quite slow. And you might see this as bad, but I actually think it's good for team play and for pro play because it's easier to coordinate with this when it's slower, and teammates can easier adapt to like the timing and stuff. If you make this faster, it's going to be way different. You can coordinate and layer other spells as easily as you can now. It's much easier to calculate for your team. If it were faster, it would be more for Vi and not for a teammate. So increasing the travel time maybe, or at least increase the animation. So she spends a long time in the air, so she holds the target for very long, and then she also stuns them after when she throws them in the ground, right? So I think if you sped up a little bit the travel time, and also you sped up the animation a lot, so the suppression that she has when they're on the ultimate in the air, if you speed up that one, it's going to have a way shorter CC, and then you can also take away some of the stun CC. I think the stun CC is necessary, but then Vi would also get out of the ultimate quicker. So that way, you would actually buff the ultimate or like change it a little bit for herself, or at least be the same, because she will be CC'd shorter, and the enemy will be CC'd shorter, and they can still start like fighting. So it's going to be very similar for Vi, maybe a little bit quicker, which could be cool. And then there's not nerf for her as a solo champion. So for solo queue, I think it's going to be very similar and maybe a little bit worse, but then you can make it do a little bit more damage. So it's better for Vi, better for herself, so better for solo queue. And then it's a big nerf for pro play because the CC is going to be way shorter, and the travel time and how to layer all other abilities on top of it for your teammates is going to be much harder. I think this is a good change. Another nerf I think they might have to do is the nerf her ult range. If they nerf her ult range, I think this is a bigger nerf to pro play because and the best players, because they're so much better at spacing, and that extra range is so big. So taking away 50 range for the pro players makes a big difference, but taking away that for lower elo players doesn't make that big of a difference, or in pro play, because they're playing on the edge all the time, and it's super important. This extra range has so much more to say, but in low elo, people have no clue how to space. It's just like back and forth, and the timing is way off all the time. So I think that is a good nerf for pro play and for the highest elo, and then it's a small nerf for the rest of us. I try to get good, but I'm not good yet. So I think that's just suggestions. Other changes that I've been talking about is just like shifting W and passive. I recently learned that they did this in Rift. What's it called? Wild Rift. Passive is actually on W and it's an active, which I've been suggesting. I didn't even know about this, but that is quite cool. I think that's a cool change. They can also make it a little bit different to not just be just a shield, maybe make it more of a block or a skill expression like Passive's W in some way, like something along this line, like an actual block or a knockback, like something that is more interactive than just a shield and extra HP. I think that could be kind of cool to make her different, but that is something else. The thing I mentioned about the ultimate is actually to fix her for pro play if they don't want to change her. I think those are good changes. The other thing is more for me, and because I think it could be cool, make it more interesting. more dynamic and make it feel more like a boxer. But yeah, I think shifting the damage into WE, taking a little bit of range on the ultimate and making it faster and the animation faster, so the CC is shorter, I think could be a really good change, and I think it could be really interesting. Maybe they could give it a try, but I think this, like, to me at least, in my mind, let me know if you think differently, but I think it makes sense. And maybe that's the way we can fix Vi and stop her from being in pro play Jays. So thank you very much for watching. If you want to keep up with the rest of the changes that is coming in a week, make sure to subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed the rundown, and I'll see you next video. Bye.